Hello everyone. This is Ahmad, one of the judges of NBL Season 4. Here I have another battle from Week 1 that we're going to be showcasing. We're going to be doing 2 battles a week, basically from the top battles of the week in terms of, uniqueness of the teams that were used and also creativity in general, and basically strategies. So with that being said, here we have a battle between a newcomer, Byron, or Bryan, or whatever, and Remy, one of the combatants that I believe was around in season 2 and 3. Anyway, this is a pretty good match. Normally, we don't showcase matches where somebody sweeps another person, but this match was one that actually impressed the judges quite a bit. So we see a lot of potential from one of the competitors in this battle. We're not going to give it away until the very end, obviously. I want you guys to actually see what happens. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to just hop into this match. I've talked enough. Okay, so he's going to lead off with Charizard, and Remy's going to lead off with his Alakazam. So here we have the Charizard Y. Okay, so Alakazam's going to go directly for the Shy Shock, which is going to get a ton of stab damage on Charizard, almost KOing it. It's able to survive and hits it with a Solar Beam. I'm not sure if he was predicting the switch or if he just wanted to go for a Solar Beam. Because if he would have used the Fire attack, he obviously would have KO'd this Alakazam here. Anyway, so Byron's going to go into the Tyranitar instead of the Sandstream, knocking out the Drought, which, again, is a little odd, just the way his team is set up. But this way he's able to actually pursue Alakazam, which I was actually surprised by when I originally saw this match, that he did run a pursuit, which pretty much takes care of a pretty decent threat at the beginning of the match. Anyway, here comes Gliscor, which I covered in last video, explaining that it is one of the biggest threats in the NBL and one of the most common Pokemon used. It's always a fan favorite. Anyway, he sets up. He goes for the Stealth Rock, but obviously Bryan's going to counter that with his Espeon and tosses it back to that side of the field. So anyway, we see this Gliscor is carrying the Toxic Orb like normal, and it takes a ton of damage from this Espeon Psychic attack, which is obviously Life Orbed. With that, Remy's going to immediately go for the Earthquake Stab and in an attempt to knock this Espeon out. However, he is unsuccessful. This Espeon seems to be a little bit more bulky than the normal sets, so with this, he has no choice but to switch into his Florges, which I'm assuming he would hope would take the special attack. Here, Espeon sets up a Future Sight, which is a really good play on his part. And then he's just going to switch back to his next Pokemon. So he comes out with Excadrill, which Florges has no way of hurting unless it is running a Hidden Power Fire. And even then, it's a big risk to stay out against this Excadrill, because this thing can crush this Florges, especially if it flinches. Anyway, with that being taken into consideration, he switches back out to his Gliscor. He takes a bit of damage from the Stealth Rock and is then hit by Excadrill's Iron Head, which knocks it out. And it's kind of funny how this happens. Excadrill is usually up against a ton of Gliscor in the NBL, which is kind of funny to me. Anyway, he goes out to the Arcanine. He's going to take a ton of damage from the Stealth Rock and get off the Intimidate on the Excadrill. Excadrill, not wanting to stay in to take Flare Blitz, is going to switch out, and he's going to pop up with his Azumarill. Now, Bryan is able to pretty much, I think, outplay Remy for a vast majority of the rest of this match. So with the Azumarill out, he still has his full power. He's not intimidated down or anything like that. And he takes the Flare Blitz like a boss. Now, Arcanine is kind of forced to switch there. I mean, he could have gone for like a Wild Charge or something like that, but he doesn't want to stand against this thing. This thing is a powerhouse. And Azumarill is just going to go for the Play Rough. I think he predicted switch there. And then he gets toxic by the Florges. With that, Azumarill is going to go for a Stab, Waterfall, and finish this thing off. Now he's going to go back into his Arcanine to get the Intimidate drop on this Azumarill, but this Arcanine is not looking too sturdy right now with all the Stealth Rock damage it's taking. So it's going to go for the Thunder Fang, which is going to do a pretty sizable chunk to Azumarill, but seeing as it's not Stab, and also Azumarill is an extremely bulky Pokemon, it does survive and is able to take out this Arcanine with no problem. So now it sees a little bit of poison damage. It's pretty much dead next turn regardless what it does. Remy's personal favorite, as we found out, is Saphira, his Salamence. I'm not sure why he went for the Dragon Claw there. I think this was a misclick, or he expected for him to switch. However, he just goes in for the foul play and is able to KO this thing like a stack of cards, basically. Anyway, with that, Azumarill does go down, and he does switch into his Charizard. And here comes the T-Tar to counter the Charizard on that side. And originally when I recorded this match, I didn't record that Azumarill had gotten a kill on Arcanine, but it did count for a kill, even though it was poison damage. Anyway, with that being said, just go back into this. Tyranitar is able to take the Solar Beam, no problem, and is able to crush this Charizard. So you can definitely see that it is especially defensive tank. Anyway, with that being said, that was a pretty short match between Remy and Bryan. This match did impress the judges quite a bit. Bryan was able to outplay Remy quite a bit in this match and pretty much walled him in while he was using a pretty solid team. Anyway, we hope to see more from both of these guys because Remy didn't make it to the Victory Road tournament in previous seasons, and Bryan is a newcomer altogether, I believe, to the league, and to defeat someone that made it to the Victory Road tournament in the first round, that is a huge accomplishment. So with that being said, we hope to see them both in the Victory Road tournament at the end. Anyway, if you like this video, please be sure to like it and subscribe below. Come check out Nuevo Pokemon League on Facebook. And also thank you for watching and participating in the NBL.